So, thank you very much for having me. Does it work? Yes. Thank you very much for having me here in a sunny day in Brussels. So my name is Chiara Mazzone. I work in the Innovation and Startups unit of DG Connect, which is a department working on new technologies and much more. I can mention them: artificial intelligence, high-performance computing, digital skills, smart cities. So it's quite a broad field. But we have a small team working on blockchain and fintech, and I think it's relevant for me and for you to be here this evening, despite we hear that, and I very much agree, that we have been through the hype and we're probably down the curve and probably going up again. We have seen that blockchain technologies have potential across fields and industries, and quite everyone is starting at least to trial something with blockchain. We have seen that there are key trends in this space. This is capture from the ICO's panorama. I don't have the most updated version, as you see, but you show the figures, and it's also sort of controversial figures. How do you evaluate how much is an ICO? It's a current Ether price, or it's real money? Anyway, we do. The most important message from this slide is that we do see that Europe is on the scene, and it's on the picture. We are having these ICOs, which we think are also an alternative firm way of raising money, that are happening around the world and that are happening as well in Europe. But the question is, who really understands Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, ICOs, and blockchain that are different things? And I think the situation was that at the certain moment we had consultancies and we have people explaining us what it was. Then we were all buying and selling cryptocurrencies to understand what it was and to speculate a bit. But understanding Bitcoin probably was the most difficult thing. Things are probably going better. It's a bit changing. I see more awareness and more capacity, not everywhere, but raising up. But we still have existential questions, that is to say, what role from our perspective at European level or at national or local level do states or the European Union have when setting frameworks for these decentralized cross-border systems? How do we address the challenges of smart contracts, which are a piece of software but which do have an impact when they become enforceable, when computer coding needs specificity and the law often needs interpretation? So starting from these just two questions, we decided to take action, and we went for, I will do a short panorama of the initiatives that we have, and I will start first with the European Blockchain Observatory and Forum. I see some colleagues in the room, so I'm happy that they are there and that we can share this part of first achievement. So the 1st February 2018, we finally launched the European Blockchain Observatory and Forum. What is it? It's a project, it's a European project which has two legs, an observatory and a forum. And the two legs are equally important because it has the ambition to create an expertise hub at European level and worldwide to access, share, produce and disseminate knowledge on blockchain technologies with several objectives. First of all, mapping what exists, and I think it's useful, and also prioritizing what these projects are about and what's their development stage. As we heard, there are many proof of concept and there are some pilots, but very, very few things in production, even if 2018 has been said to be the year of production. To monitor technical development and trends, we know that they are changing constantly, I would say weekly, so how can we keep up with the pace of this moving new emerging technologies? We developed expertise and community building, thanks to stakeholders' mobilization and engagement. We just called the call for contributors that we opened. We had more than 350 applicants that wanted to be part of this observatory. We address sectorial and cross-cutting issues, governance, legal issues, frameworks that do exist or do not exist, scalability issues, compliance with existing regulations, GDPR, EADAS, anti-money laundering, you name them. And of course, interoperability of solutions that already exist and that would be thriving in this environment and that could be multiple, which kind of interoperability can we ensure between them? And of course, we want to build on interest, on use cases that are of interest at EU level. And when I'm talking about this, it's mainly, we are starting from one starting point, which is governmental services. What can we do better at European level, more easily, more efficiently through blockchain? And of course, offering some inputs for policies and actions. And we have a very good contractor accompanying us. That's a consensus that many that are in the blockchain space will recognize. So very briefly, the activities are to produce and share knowledge, to analyze blockchain development and trends, identify the existing initiatives with a specific focus also on what it has been done in the public sector, create and animate an attractive and transparent forum, and of course, highlight opportunities and issues at stake regarding the technology. We have listened that Europe has got an opportunity there to be present, and it is becoming to be present, also on the world scene. So very briefly, how it works. It's not really hierarchical, what I'm showing here, just to let you understand. We have this project management very light structure with the DG Connect and the contractor. Then we'll have working groups, 2 working groups that will be set up, which is the first one on policy frameworks and legal conditions. The second one on use cases and transformation scenarios. And we have around 50 to 60 people cooperating very closely on this level. We have academic partners within the project. And of course, we have the broader European blockchain community. All these people are linked and I would say put together also through an online community, which is the eublockchainforum.eu and mobilize.eu, which is a platform where people have already started exchanging. I was reading threads on GDPR or on scalability or on ICOs or on crypto agility. So I think that there are meaningful discussions happening there, and this discussion will be taken into consideration to further organize workshop. And so as an announcement, the first workshop will be organized in Vienna on the 22nd of May, and it will be back-to-back with a very important conference which is called GovTech Pioneers, so pioneering innovation in the public sector, and where blockchain will be also featuring. These are practical, very practical information if you want to join the community, and I really invite you to be there. I think the more we are, the more we can contribute and to make this happen. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. So this is one of the first visible activities that we are carrying forward. But we are also analyzing a study on the opportunity of setting up what we call a European blockchain infrastructure. What is it? Is it, in essence, try to understand which are the right conditions to set up this transparent, what we call transactional data environment, when transaction can happen and value can be exchanged at European level, with the ambition in one day to have deployment of public services which run cross-border. Today we have, I take just one example, today we have the EIDAS regulation, which is the regulation that allows us, when implementing fully, to have our online identity, which may seem quite natural for Belgians, but it is not in every country, I can assure you. I'm Italian, I still have a card, an identity card, which is a piece of paper, and I cannot go through all the checks because it's not digital. I cannot go to my library and have my points on. I cannot go to my doctor and have all my medical reports on, so it's a reality that we don't have a digital identity everywhere. But can we say that digital identity could be one use case that we explore at European level and having significant added value for deploying services cross-border and not just going to national databases, asking and check the identity of that person and then communicating this information? It's probably a dream, but we are trying to do this through this study and through what we signed a couple of weeks ago during Digital Day 2. It was 10th of April, we had a lot of ministries around and 22 member states that signed the European Partnership, European Partnership on blockchain. Mainly it was a declaration on which we asked governments and ministries to engage, to provide resources and to provide people that come together and define what could be a set of services that we want to implement together. It's quite a big achievement for us, even we know that from the community, this is not something very decentralized in the approach. But the idea was to cooperate towards a European blockchain infrastructure of services to define which governance models do we want to adopt, how to make them by default compliance with EU laws and also with EU values, for instance, on privacy and data protection, how to ensure interoperability, of course, at European level, but also among the main initiatives that have been taking place around Europe, InfraChain or Alastria, just to mention two. Of course, stimulating new business models and also offering the private sector the opportunity to come and test things on this infrastructure. And of course, with the ambition also to position Europe in a leadership role in this field. I will pass quickly on this because I have many things to tell you, but I want overall questions to be asked. But on 8th of March, last 8th of March, we published what we call the FinTech Action Plan. So some measures and concrete actions to enable innovative businesses in your sector to scale up in Europe, to support uptake of new technologies, blockchain, artificial intelligence, risk modeling through new technologies, and of course presenting and outlining this kind of blockchain strategy within FinTech and beyond FinTech. And these are some of the activities: EU FinTech Lab, licensing for innovative FinTech, sandboxes, and the EU Blockchain Initiative that we will be implementing in the next months. We are not talking just about strategy and politics, we also fund projects. We came together at the Commission level and we joined forces together to let people like you and constituencies that there's funding at European level on blockchain. So we presented all the calls that are open at European level in different sectors. Maybe IoT, social media and education for certification of diplomas, and what we call next generation internet, more human-centric internet where privacy is set by default, digital health and care, energy, environment, transportation. So there's a bunch of opportunity there. If you are a researcher, if you have a company, or a small enterprise or a big one, to participate in these calls. And then, of course, I don't see the link, so I will not show. Yeah, no problem. I will not show the video, but we also have what we call the European Innovation Council Prize on blockchain for social goods. So the idea is that, yeah, you have the link. You will have a look at this. But the idea is that we award 5 prizes of 1 million each for people that would come with a solution to solve one problem tackling societal challenges. It may be how to improve our healthcare system or the exchange of healthcare or sensitive data through blockchain, or how to contribute to make life of refugees better once they arrive in Europe. It's quite broad, and I have more details if you are interested. But so there are opportunities there for funding. And just let me focus on 2 or 3 projects that we already funded. The first one is called Decode. It has the ambition to give people ownership of their data on the internet and create a trustworthy and privacy-aware digital society. And they are trialing with blockchain, and they will have 4 pilot candidates in Barcelona and in Amsterdam to deploy this concretely. So we'll have soon first results from that project. There's another very good project which is called My Health, My Data. Actually, they want to deploy a European platform for sharing personal health data among hospitals, doctors, patients for research and industry efforts. And the idea is that they are using blockchain to secure this data and the circulation of this data. And with a dynamic consent, the patients could know who's using and who is accessing their data. And they can track this back. And I think it's a powerful message when we talk today about Facebook and Cambridge Analytica and all the data breaches that we have been experiencing. You have more information here, and they're also helping us with a bit of the legal and regulatory framework around healthcare, which is not an easy one, which is a very sensitive one, which is a very, I would say, national sensitive one. Some data are shared at regional level, some others are kept within the frontiers of member states, so it's a good project that we are learning from. And then we have another one, Sunfish. It's more on cloud and federated heterogeneous private cloud environments supported through blockchain. And we have the Italian ministry that is piloting a cross-cloud management of sensitive data via blockchain. It's more a use case on Payslip, but this is also happening. And coming back to other few activities that we are also doing, that will be my last slides and conclusion. We are also looking, so we're not looking just from research and innovation perspective, we are also looking at piloting, so proof of concepting, I would say, at piloting and try to see where we can have a first deployment seriously taken up at European level with the member states. And of course, we are looking at the regulatory and legal environments or conditions that would be needed for this to happen. Notably, the first workshop of the Observatory will be on innovation, blockchain innovation in Europe, and the second one will be on GDPR. GDPR and blockchains, we know it's a sensitive issue, and especially inside the Commission, you have also to, I would say, to convince colleagues on utility, usefulness, and reality of these new technologies coming into life and being in contact with the legislation that is there. We are active participants in the standardization committees, for instance, the ISO, so the International Standard Organization Technical Committee 307, which is dealing with blockchain, in other international instances, and we were supporting SENS and ELEX, so the European standardization bodies, objectives to have a white paper on blockchain outlining what could be a European vision of blockchain in standardization. And as I was mentioning, you cannot just talk, but you have to walk the talk, and so we are trying to piloting also inside the Commission. We have one proof of concept in the financial services space, which is called the first acronym, European Financial Transparency Gateway. It is for transparency of listed companies and connecting the databases that are at national level to foster capacity of investors to invest at European level. We have the prize that we talk about. We have a proof of concept in TaxUD, which is one of the departments of the European Commission, dealing with taxation and customs. So to see how national databases of exchanges of information can be linked together and member states could be more reactive in accessing this information. And then we have other trial that I can talk about. Something we also want to be on top of, it's skills development and internal expertise. Of course, these are two different scales. With internal expertise, we will have training. We have already started training colleagues, talking with other institutions, doing partnership. With the skills development, we really feel that we need more, you name them, developers or just people that can bridge the distance between the ecosystem and the regulators. And we will need to have these people in Europe pretty soon if we want to make an impact and to have a competitive advantage. And I think my final message was that we will have fine aperitifs after.